Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Anyway Moving Forward. And I just want to talk about this one thing that I know that people are experiencing right now. And maybe you're feeling like you are left behind in life. And I wanted to share this here because it's not an isolated case. Because just like you, I also had a moment in my life in the past where I felt like everybody was progressing except me. And that was the moment that I became a single mother at the age of 23. When I became a single mother, I felt at that time that everyone's life is going so well and mine wasn't, because I was in a role that wasn't societally accepted and correct at that time. And so I started comparing myself towards other people, realizing now that each one of us has our own journey. And if we start comparing our journey towards other people, we would really feel left behind, because we tend to compare somebody's chapter 100 to our chapter 1. And I say that because if somebody compares themselves to me on where I am now, it took me a lot of years to get to where I am. So it's not right for you to compare your day 1 to my day, 3 years, 4 years in this industry. So the point is, if you are feeling left behind, I invite you to, instead of you comparing your journey towards other people, how about you compare yourself to you 6 months ago to where you are right now? For sure, there has been a lot of improvements. For sure, you have grown so much. And if you keep on living in the past, you won't be able to move forward, because you'll keep on recreating something that isn't there anymore. Your mind will always and constantly look for evidences to make our beliefs real. And if you believe that you're not successful enough, or you're left behind, or you're nothing, your mind will constantly look for evidences to make that quote unquote chosen belief real. And I'm saying this because I wanted to bring awareness to you that everything in your conscious reality is something that, yes, you have experienced, might be, or exposed to, and you made the decision and the choice to accept it as a part of your being. Thus, there was a choice created with this suggested reality wherever you got that belief. And so, if you find yourself comparing, or if you find yourself left behind, again, stop comparing yourself towards other people. Next is, you might be in a space where you cannot really be who you are. Because if you're in a space where you can't be who you are, you tend to shapeshift into someone that you're not, just so they can accept you, just so you belong. And again, these shape-shifting capabilities that we have were taken from childhood. The need for validation, the fear of not being like everyone else, that's been the part of the upbringing. But now that you are an adult, you have to realize that you now have a choice of what embodiment you want to become. And you have to accept that when you choose to be who you are, the usual people that you hang out with, who you know that you don't resonate with, will start purging off, because you're being true to yourself. They'll start asking you questions like, I don't know who you are anymore, or it's not you anymore, nag-iba ka na. And I really invite you to see it as a way for you to decide whether this person deserves a space in your life. If by you betraying the wholeness of who you are, or the truth of who you are, means leaving spaces that doesn't align with you, then so be it. The only reason why we are afraid of letting go of spaces is because we always want to have this sense of belonging ever since we were growing up. And to be on your own at this chapter lang is such a uncertain path to be in. And the uncertainty just brings fear towards us. And fear, most often, if you don't know how to deal with it, often stops a lot of people from going to the other side, because they choose to believe in the fear because that was what was safe. And so instead of so many people expanding and reaching their maximum potential in this life, the fear stops them from growing. The fear of what might others say, the fear of failure, the fear of being rejected, the fear of not being enough, and all those fears that was implanted to us by society, by the people that we grew up with or the environment that you are in. So I really invite you to have a check of the circle that you're in. If you find yourself contracting instead of expanding, and you hide pieces of you, like maybe you like to read or you want to wear this, and every time that you become more true to yourself, you're easily judged by your environment. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just that you might not just be in the right environment to nurture who you really are or who you choose to be. And along this journey, I also realized that we all have our different worlds. There are people who are into this work, who are into personal development. There are also people who are into crime. There are also people who are socialites. There are also artists and all of that. We have to accept that all of us has different purpose in this world, because imagine if all of us are all the same. How can you appreciate the contrast of life? How can you appreciate life if you haven't gone through sadness? How can you appreciate joy if you haven't gone through sadness? So the duality and the difference and the variety of each one of us is essential in the circle of life, because unless we accept that there is, we'll be in constant denial of what is presented or what is in our conscious awareness. You have to become aware that not everybody is the same. You have to also be aware that just because I said it doesn't mean that it's real. You are free to deny or reject whatever I'm saying, because all of us has our own truth, and I am sharing my own truth, and it is up to you whether you'd want to take in my truth. Everything else is just a suggestion. Everything outside your being is just a suggestion of what you want to take in. As what Rick Rubin said, all we are is made up of pieces that we take in. So curate what comes into your highest good. And so if you're not aware of what you're taking in, then you're going to be constantly living a life of just receiving and not even knowing what's happening inside. And it's a blind life. There is really a gift with awareness, and in my world, knowing who you truly are. Even the world told you who you are. There's a lot of topic with that. For sure, I'll be covering it in the next episode. But I just want to say that if you feel behind in life, you're not behind. You're just literally right on time. It's just that maybe the circumstance told you so, or you're comparing yourself towards other people. You have to accept what is, because it is always what it is. You cannot fight what is. And unless you come to this acceptance of what is, you will be constantly going against the flow of life, and it takes more resistance. It takes more pain from that resistance, because what I've learned in this journey is you just really have to let go and trust that whatever is happening in front of you is supposed to happen, and it is always for your highest good. And unless you believe that, or you're believing otherwise or the other, you'll be living the life that you're choosing to believe in. And thus you also have to realize that we all have a choice, that not everybody is practicing. So if you're feeling a little behind in life, I just want to remind you that you're not. You are right on time. Each one of us has our own destiny. Each one of us has our own story. And just because it worked for this person, or this is his path now at this age, doesn't mean that it should be everyone else's. The difference between all of us is what makes life so beautiful and so meaningful. Just stop comparing yourself towards others' growth, because the only person that you should compare yourself to is the person that you were 6 months ago. And I know that you've been growing so much. And so I guess that's my message for this one, that if you feel like you're left behind, you're not. You're right on time. You just have to truly accept what is. I really believe that healing is just really acceptance of what is. Acceptance and trusting that it's supposed to happen for you. The triggers still trigger you because there's still something to learn, and it's not a bad thing to experience that. It's just really, you have to transmute the lesson in every life experiences that is presented to you, and everything in your conscious awareness was given for you to realize and for you to be equipped of what character you needed for the next journey of your life. So whatever or however you are feeling right now, you might be feeling sad or having all the feels in the body. I just invite you to, instead of you denying the feeling of sadness on being left behind or all of that, be it with your emotions. Sit with it like a friend and ask this question of, what are you trying to teach me? What is your gift for me? And what do you need from me? And from the questions that you ask, you also receive the answers. Might not be right away, might be through a lot more processes, but one thing I know for sure is the answers is going to arrive as long as the seeker is constantly seeking. And all the answers will arrive. It's only just a matter of time. before you can actually see it, because I truly believe that everything that we need is right in front of us, but you can only see it if you learn to let go of energies, of beliefs, of identities that's no longer who you are, because we constantly evolve in this life. As long as we are alive, we are constantly evolving. You can't be grade 1 now that you're 40s, right? So we constantly evolve, and I do hope that you give yourself the permission to evolve. You give yourself the courage to be seen and to be resilient and to be audacious, to live this one life that's been gifted to us. So yeah, you're not behind, you're just right on time. You just have to trust, learn to surrender, and everything is happening for you and not to you.